I had 30 seconds. Maybe less. My sergeant was outside that door and he needed to hear footsteps, one person walking out, one person taken. That was the only way the others stayed safe. I looked at the man. I looked at the girl. And I understood that whatever I chose in that room, I would carry for the rest of my life. My name is Werner Brandt. I was 22 years old in the winter of 1943. I am telling you this not because I am proud of what I did, and not because I am ashamed. I am telling you because I am the only one left who was in that room, and someone should say what happened before I am gone. We had been moving through the Walla district for 3 days, house to house, building to building. I will not describe everything we did in those 3 days. Some of it I have told no one. Some of it I have told priests and been given absolution and still not believed in the absolution. That is not what this is about. This is about one room. One door. 30 seconds. Our unit had received information reliable. We were told that a family in a particular building was hiding a resistance courier. A man. The orders were standard: locate, extract, bring him in for questioning. Whatever questioning meant in 1943. We all knew what it meant. We didn't say it aloud. My sergeant was a man named Kessler. He was not cruel in the theatrical way of the men you read about in history books. He was something quieter and worse than that. He was efficient. He had decided, long before I met him, that the war required a certain kind of person, and he had become that person so completely that I sometimes wondered if anyone else had ever lived inside him. He gave me my instructions at the base of the stairs. Go up. 3rd floor. Apartment at the end. Bring someone out. If you come out empty-handed, I come in with 6 men and we take the whole building. Those were his exact words. Bring someone out. He didn't say which someone. I think he believed that left me no choice. I think he was wrong. The stairwell smelled of damp plaster and boiled cabbage. My boots were loud on the stone steps no matter how carefully I placed them. I had my rifle. I had my orders. I had 22 years of a life that had not, until that point, prepared me for anything that was about to happen. The door at the end of the hall was thin wood, warped in its frame, the kind of door that wouldn't stop anything. I didn't knock. I pushed it open with my shoulder and stepped inside and pointed my rifle into the room before I had even fully seen what was in it. 2 people. A man sitting at a table near the window, very still, the stillness of someone who has been waiting for this moment and has already decided not to run. He was perhaps 50, perhaps older. It was difficult to tell in that winter, when people aged in weeks rather than years. His hands were flat on the table, his face was composed in a way that I recognized even then as extraordinary, a composure that had cost him something enormous to achieve. And beside him, pressed against his side, her fingers locked around his arm, a girl. 11, perhaps 12. Dark hair. Eyes that were too large in her face, the way children's eyes get when they have been frightened for a long time. She was looking at me the way you look at a wall that is falling toward you, not with hope, not with appeal, just with a terrible, clear understanding of what is happening. The man spoke first. Quietly. "Please," he said. Just that one word. In Polish, then in German. please." I stood in the doorway for a moment that felt much longer than it was. My rifle was still raised. The girl had not looked away from me. She had not made a sound. She was gripping her father's arm with both hands now, and her knuckles were white, and she was not crying, and something about the fact that she was not crying was worse than anything else in that room. I looked at the man. 50 years old, maybe more. His hands were shaking slightly against the table, not from fear, I thought, but from the effort of holding himself still despite the fear. There was something in his eyes when he looked at his daughter. The same thing I had seen in my own father's face, once, years ago, standing at a hospital window. Something that had no name but that I understood completely. He was already dying. I could see it. Not quickly, not that day, perhaps not that month, but the kind of dying that had already begun, that had already hollowed out parts of him that wouldn't come back. The war, the hunger, something else I couldn't name. He knew it too. I could see that he knew it. The girl did not know it. Or she knew it and was refusing to know it, which is a different thing. From the stairwell below, Kessler's voice. Impatient. Controlled. Brandt. Just my name. A warning and a countdown in a single word. I have thought about what happened next every day for the rest of my life. I have tried to construct it as a decision, a reasoned, moral calculation, the kind a good man makes. But that is not what it was. It was faster than thought. It moved through me the way certainty moves, not like a conclusion but like a recognition, like seeing something you already knew. I looked at the girl. 12 years old. Alone in a city that was consuming itself. Without her father, she would have no one. She would be one of the thousands of children moving through Warsaw like ghosts, surviving on nothing, seen by no one, lasting weeks if they were lucky and less if they weren't. I had seen those children in the streets. I had learned to stop seeing them because seeing them was unbearable. I looked at the man. He was looking back at me steadily. And I understood in the way you understand things that are communicated without words that he already knew. That he had known from the moment I walked through the door, that the composure on his face was not hope. It was something on the other side of hope. A man who has looked at the situation clearly and has already, privately, let go. His eyes moved to his daughter. Then back to me. The smallest nod. So slight I might have imagined it. I didn't imagine it. I crossed the room in 4 steps. I took the man by the arm gently, which was an absurd thing to be, under the circumstances, but I was gentle, and I said to the girl, quietly, in the Polish I had learned badly from a woman in Krakow the year before, "Stay here. Lock the door. Don't open it until morning." She made a sound then. One sound. Not a word. Something that came from a place beneath language. Her father said something to her in Polish, very quickly and very quietly. I don't know what he said. I have wondered for 80 years what he said. His voice was steady. Whatever it was, he had prepared it. He had known he might need it. Then I walked him out of the room. I closed the door behind us. Kessler was at the bottom of the stairs. He looked at the man, then at me, then nodded once and turned. He asked no questions. He never asked questions when the answer was already walking in front of him. I handed the man to two soldiers at the building's entrance. I watched them walk him down the street. He did not look back. I have always been grateful that he did not look back. I do not know what happened to him after that. I have told myself many things over the years. I have told myself he survived, that some did, that the camps had survivors, that a man with that kind of composure might have found a way. I don't know if I believe it. I think I have needed to believe it in order to continue living, and I have given myself permission to believe it without knowing if it is true. What I know is this: the girl was still in that apartment when the building was cleared 2 days later by a different unit moving through. She was found hiding in a space behind the wall where the pipes ran a gap barely wide enough for a child. She had a coat, a piece of bread, and a photograph. She gave no name. She was taken to a church on the edge of the district that was still standing and was taking in children. I know this because I went back. Alone, without orders, in a gap between movements when no one was watching. I needed to know. I told myself it was guilt. Maybe it was. Maybe it was something else, the need to confirm that the calculation had worked, that the cost had purchased what I had meant it to purchase. She was alive. I stood at the door of the church for a long time and then I walked away and I never went back. People have asked me, in the years since, whether I made the right choice. I have never been able to answer that question directly. I am not sure it is the right question. What I did was not righteous. I was a German soldier in Poland in 1943 and everything about my presence in that country, in that building, in that room, was wrong, and no single decision inside a wrong situation makes the situation right. But I chose the child. I chose her because she had more life ahead of her. I chose her because the man had already, in some private interior way, made his own choice before I made mine. I chose her because when I looked at her face 12 years old, dry-eyed, gripping her father's arm with both hands, I saw something that I was not willing to extinguish. Something that the war had not yet reached, even after everything it had taken. I chose her and I have lived with it. Some nights I hear that one sound she made, the sound beneath language, when she understood what was happening. I have never found a word for it in any language. It wasn't a scream. It wasn't a cry. It was something a human being makes when the world confirms the thing they most feared, and confirms it completely, and there is nothing left to do but absorb it. I hear it still. And I would make the same choice again. That is the part I cannot explain, and cannot escape. I would make the same choice again.